In this episode, we're going to talk about habits you can build to improve your English every day.
They might seem like small efforts, but over time, they make a big difference.
Relax and learn simple English with Easygoing English Podcast.
This is the 7th episode of Easygoing English Podcast hosted by Claire.
And I'm Josh.
We upload videos every week, sharing English learning tips and English you may not learn in a textbook.
We're all about helping you learn English in a chill, stress-free way.
If you find this video helpful, hit the like button. It'll really help us. Without further ado, let's get started. So the first habit is immersing yourself in English. It basically means making English a part of your everyday life.
You're seeing it, hearing it, and using it all the time, just like how you use your first language.
One small thing you can do to surround yourself with English is changing your phone language to English.
Just think about how much time you spend on your phone. You can learn a lot by using it in English.
If you've always used your phone in your native language, it may feel a bit strange at first, but you'll get used to it in no time. The next thing you can do is watch videos in English. I'm not saying that you should completely stop watching videos in your native language, but you can make a habit of watching 1 or 2 videos in English a day. It can be anything you like. The key is to do it consistently.
Yeah, you want to find something that you want to watch every day.
Do you watch any videos in French? In case you don't know, Josh is learning French.
Yeah, I like this French gaming YouTuber. I like to watch his videos sometimes. You? Do you have any favorites?
I like to watch travel vloggers from Japan. There are a few that I regularly watch.
Yeah, these videos are really fun to watch.
So, the topic can be anything you like. If you are into video games, you can find a content creator who plays games that you like. The key is to make a habit of watching videos English consistently. Okay, here's another thing that you can do to get immersed in English. Visit online forums in English.
There are many of them.
Yeah, the reason I recommend this is because there are forums about pretty much anything, so it's easy to find people who have the same interests. And I'm sure you have a lot to talk about when it comes to your hobby or what you're passionate about.
If you've never joined an online forum before, you may feel a little hesitant to leave a comment, but you can lurk at first.
Lurk just means you read what other people are saying, without joining their discussion. And that's totally okay when you're just getting started.
You can also check out the comment sections on other platforms like YouTube.
Yeah, speaking of that, you can leave a comment on this video too. In fact, we encourage you to share one thing you do every day to improve your English in the comment section.
That's a good idea.
All right, the next habit is doing your daily activities in English. This is about replacing your native language with English when doing things that you do every day. It can be reading or watching the news or checking out blogs. Is there anything you do every day?
One thing that I definitely do is watch the news.
If you also watch the news, try doing it in English. You can find a lot of news channels in English on YouTube, and they upload videos every day.
Yeah, you may initially have a hard time understanding it, but by listening to it every day, you will pick up on the rhythm of the language.
Exactly. We have covered how passive learning can be effective, but you can also listen to it actively. If you catch a word that you've never heard before, write it down and look up the definition. Doing that every day will definitely help you expand your vocabulary and improve your listening skills.
Yeah, even 1 or 2 words a day will eventually add up over time. Before you know it, your English is way better.
One thing that I do every day is keep a diary.
You told us in the last episode. I have a question. How much do you usually write in your diary?
It really depends on the day. Sometimes I have a lot to talk about, and I write several pages. Other days, I don't have so much to talk about and write only a few paragraphs. If any of you also keep a diary, I highly recommend writing it in English. And try to use new vocabulary or phrases that you've just recently learned. Actively using it will help you remember it.
Yeah, we covered how to memorize vocabulary effectively a little while ago. If you're interested, check it out.
All right, moving on. The next habit is thinking in English. Have you ever heard that some people don't have an internal dialogue?
I've actually heard of that.
Internal dialogues are basically when you hear yourself say phrases and have conversations in your head. It's totally a natural phenomenon. I do it. I say my thoughts in my mind all the time. But apparently, not everyone does it.
I actually thought the opposite. I thought I was weird for having internal monologues, but the tone of the news was that it was shocking that not everyone did it.
Don't worry. You are not at all. It's very common apparently. If you also have internal dialogues like us, try switching to English in your head.
If you find it difficult, you could try narrating your day.
Yeah, talk about what you're doing. Like, I'm cooking dinner now. I'm going to turn on the TV and watch a show before going to bed.
You could also describe your surroundings.
Right. When you are outside, you can have an inner dialogue in your head like, the weather is so nice today. The house over there is beautiful. I like the color of the walls.
You could describe pretty much anything.
You'll eventually find yourself thinking in English without even trying. Okay, now this might sound obvious, but the next habit is practicing your English. I'd recommend spending at least 30 minutes a day. You can either learn new vocabulary or new grammar rules. Or you can practice the accent that you want to get. And practice listening.
Yeah, it may not sound like a lot of time, but you could do a lot in 30 minutes.
Do you have any tips for how to memorize new words?
Like you said earlier, try writing down any words you don't understand. Let's say you're watching the news. Listen carefully. If you come across words you've never heard before, check their meaning.
Yeah, I personally like to use flashcards. And this is something that we've already talked about, but I like to use spaced repetition. I basically go over a set of words. I go over words that I have a hard time remembering more often. If I remember them, I decrease the intervals between the times I review them again. That way, I can spend more time on the words I particularly have difficulty memorizing and less time on the ones that I already know.
I use images because I'm a visual learner. I find it easier to remember words when I associate them with pictures. I use digital flashcards, and I put an image on the front and the definition on the back.
You want to find what kind of a learner you are and adjust the way you study. You also want to practice creating sentences, especially if you're learning grammar. I understand that some people don't like studying it, but understanding the rules will definitely come in handy later on.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even if you know a lot of words, if you don't know how to use them, they won't be as useful.
As for accent, choose an accent that you want to get first. There are so many accents in English. Once you choose one, you can imitate a native speaker who has the accent. How do you practice your French?
Since you told me about shadowing in the last episode, I've been doing it. I play a video in French and repeat after it almost simultaneously.
Do you think it's helping?
Too early to tell. Let's see how much I will improve.
If you find shadowing difficult, you can also just pause the video and repeat after it when you can.
Yeah, and try to find an audio that's at the same or slightly above your level. If it's too difficult, it can be frustrating.
And focus on the rhythm and intonation. English is called a stressed-timed language. Some of the words are stressed while others are reduced. The stressed words are usually louder in volume and longer in duration, while the reduced sounds are usually quieter and shorter, and they're often linked and connected.
Yeah, it's interesting to pay attention to these points when you repeat after a native English speaker next time. How should we practice listening?
Good question. One thing that has really helped me when studying Japanese was writing it down.
You transcribe an audio.
Exactly. I transcribe Japanese audio word for word. It's really effective for me. I think after I started doing it, my listening skills definitely improved. What works for everyone is different, but it's worth trying. If you want, you can try writing down what we are saying word for word. Even if you understand most of it, once you start transcribing it, you'll notice that you are not catching every single word.
Yeah, I bet that will also help you understand how words are actually pronounced when native speakers speak. They don't always sound like they do in a textbook. When people speak, some of the sounds are dropped or reduced.
Right. When you pay attention to every word, you will realize you do not hear all of them.
This is something one of my language teachers said in class. If you can't hear it, you can't say it.
Good point. You can't replicate what you can't perceive. That's why listening is so important in language learning. Okay, the next thing we are going to talk about may require some of you to get out of your comfort zone, but it's definitely worth it. Speaking to native speakers whenever you can.
Yeah, this is important, especially when you want to learn how real English sounds. Not textbook English. But how should English learners go about finding native English speakers, especially when they do not live in an English-speaking country?
Good question. If you ever find a tourist in your city who seems to be lost, try helping them. If they can't speak the language in your country, they will likely appreciate your speaking to them in English.
Yeah, it's really relieving when you find someone who speaks English in a foreign country, especially when you're lost and in need of help.
Yeah, not every foreigner is in your country to study. Some of them are just sightseeing, or they just arrived and still can't speak the language. We've all been there.
If you want to speak to native English speakers in person, there may also be cultural exchange groups in your area.
Right. Sometimes there are local groups where people from all over the world join and do cultural exchange. Definitely worth checking them out. If you don't feel comfortable meeting people in person, you can try some applications or websites where you can talk to native English speakers.
There are so many apps and websites that facilitate language exchange.
I used to be on them and made some good friends. You can basically go on one of them and find native English speakers who are interested in learning your language. If you click with them, you can teach them your language, and they teach you English in return. Before we end this episode, we encourage you to write down one thing you do every day to improve your English.
If you have a good habit, go ahead and share it.
And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.